Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about Prospekt. Many of you should have heard of the title back in 2016 when it released, and also during the catastrophe that was Hunt Down the Freeman. This video is not about Hunt Down the Freeman, however. It is about some recent news related to Prospekt, and whether or not this is necessarily bad or good is for you to decide. Now, I'm not sure how controversial this topic might be since other fan Half-Life projects such as Project Borealis is doing it and was received fairly well, but recently the main developer of Prospekt has decided to switch from the Source engine to Unreal Engine. Richard Seabrook, the main developer of Prospekt, shows his reasoning for the decision on the game's development Discord server. As you can see, the main developer is heavily determined on the transition to Unreal Engine, feeling this would enhance development tremendously. Others in the Prospekt community feel that porting Prospekt over to Unreal Engine is not the way to go about continuing development on the game, saying they rather it be continued on a special version of the Source engine a project called Borealis is using. To quickly sum up Borealis is Half-Life 2 Episode 3 according to Mark Laidlaw's Episode 3 in Source Engine, whereas Project Borealis is the exact same thing except being in Unreal Engine 4. Now, as the last-ditch effort to keep Prospekt alive and attempt to prevent the porting of the game to Unreal Engine, one of our developers announced a multiplayer deathmatch mode, similar to Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Apparently the mode will sport maps from Prospekt itself and possibly a miscellaneous of other Half-Life 2 maps from other sources. The same developer continued on with this idea, attempting to create a mapping competition for Prospekt's deathmatch mode. This idea of multiplayer being in Prospekt has most likely faded, with the question of how to integrate it all in-game, and the fact that it was a last-ditch effort to keep Prospekt on Source engine. Along with this argument of what game engine to use to continue Prospekt's development on, there is the issue of the lack of communication and progress being made. According to publicly visible conversation between the developers and individuals of the Prospekt community, very little work has been done at this point in time. A worthy side note is that currently the main developer of Prospekt has also been working on a second unrelated title that has released onto Steam Early Access. The game is called Gunsmith and it looks very promising and has substantially more positivity in its reviews compared to Prospekt. While I'm not sure what Prospekt's future is, I hope whatever game engine is decided to be used and however the developers plan to handle the game's development that it does succeed. The game was obviously better than something like Hunt Down the Freeman and definitely had more care put into it. There was an overhaul planned to straighten out the story and completely change current levels in the game as well as add new levels to enhance the gameplay and environment of Prospekt, but I have no idea whether this is still planned with the current state of development. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope I have been informative.